Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Game Things. I'm your host for the week Ming, and today we'll start off our episode by talking about Remnant of the Ashes 2. So Remnant 2 will be having an upcoming DLC. Do take note that this will be the last and final DLC for the game, and it effectively will feature a free boss rush mode. And aside from the free boss rush mode, there also will be paid DLC, which will be titled Dark Horizon, which effectively includes new storyline, new weapons, new bosses, new items, the usual. So yeah, effectively both of these DLC with the free and the paid one will be released on the same date, which is the 24th of September. As for the free version, the boss rush mode itself features either solo play or co-op play, and it has up to 3 different difficulty options. So honestly, pretty good stuff. We all like boss rush mode, especially since Black Myth Wukong was effectively just a really well made boss rush mode. So yeah, if you guys really like Remnant of the Ashes and want to play more of the game, definitely check out the DLC when it's released. Speaking of DLC, Dead Island 2 will also be having a free DLC that is available to all players, and that DLC is called Neighborhood Watch. So this DLC effectively is a co-op horde mode, but at the same time it's also a base defense. Why do I say that it's a base defense? Effectively, you're supposed to play as a group of college kids and supposed to kind of go out, gather resources for up to 4 days, and on the 5th day, zombies will effectively swarm your base, hence a base defense. And throughout this 4 days, you get to go and collect loot and kind of just build up your base. Aside from that, there will also be 3 different characters that you can play as, effectively each having 3 different skill sets. So yeah, it's a free DLC that will be releasing on the 22nd of October, and it looks pretty fun. There looks to be a pretty decent variety of ways for you to defend your base, be it for stuff like flamethrowers, electric fences, stuff like that. A pretty good amount of cool stuff to interact with. So if you guys like Dead Island 2 and just wanna boot up the game and have a good time killing some zombies, definitely check it out. I mean, it is free after all. Anyway, moving on from DLC, we're gonna talk about one of Ubisoft's old titles, specifically The Crew 2 and The Crew Motorfest. So Ubisoft is going to be adding offline mode to support these 2 games, and in fact, if you don't own any of these games right now, it is available on Steam on a pretty large sale. Effectively, I think it's up to like 90-ish% sale. So yeah, effectively, Ubisoft is giving offline modes to these 2 games to ensure their longevity and ensure that players are able to still play offline even when the servers go down. So yeah, pretty good stuff from Ubisoft after all their earlier flops. So well, if you haven't got the game yet, be sure to check it out and get it for cheap. Moving on from that, we're going to talk about Destiny 2, specifically some major changes to their expansion model. So, Destiny 2 will now be featuring 2 medium-sized paid expansions annually with 4 major free content updates. Well, each free content update, aside from having new mechanics that will shake up the gameplay, will also feature a battle pass for you to earn rewards. So yeah, pretty cool stuff if you still play Destiny. Moving on from Destiny, we're gonna talk about PS5 Pro, which is currently set to be released on the 7th of November and will cost a whopping $700 for an upgraded GPU, advanced ray tracing, and AI driven upscaling. So, yeah, it's basically an upgrade on the current PS5. The price is kinda steep, and the worst part is the console itself will not come with a disk drive, so if you do want a disk drive, it will be sold separately for $100. And aside from that, the vertical stand is also sold separately for an additional $25. So yeah, all in all, if you want to buy a brand new PS5 Pro with the disk drive as well as its stand, it's gonna cost you $825, which is a pretty whopping sum if you ask me. So yeah, honestly, I would say the PS5 itself plays perfectly well. I own one myself and I think it works perfectly fine. The graphics are good enough. I don't really think you need a PS5 Pro. I honestly don't think that the graphics can be enhanced to a degree whereby the price itself justifies getting a PS5 Pro. But hey, if you have the extra cash, I'm sure that it will be worthwhile to fork it out and get a minor upgrade to the graphics. So yeah, but anyway, if you guys have any comments or thoughts about the PS5 Pro's release, do make sure to write it down in the comments and let us know about your thoughts and feedback. Anyway, moving on from that, we're going to talk about some games that you can get your hands on right now. Starting off with Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, available on PS5, Xbox Series S and X, Switch, and PC. So, if you guys don't already know already, Lollipop Chainsaw is a pretty old game where you play as a cheerleader and you go around killing, well, zombies. The game itself is basically just a remake or remaster of the older version of the game, so yeah. Of course, with all the other remakes and remasters out there, you get enhanced graphics, better gameplay, more fluid, more content, the pretty usual stuff, but based on what I've seen in terms of the graphics, it does still look pretty dated, so it does still have the olden classic games type of feel. So if you just want to go down a nostalgia trip and relive the good old back in the day graphics, definitely check out Lollipop Chainsaw Repop. It was a pretty popular game after all. Anyways, moving on from zombie killing, we have Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince. So this game was originally available on the Switch and now it has been released on PC as well. The game itself is basically just a creature collecting game, so something like Pokemon, but instead of you controlling one Pokemon or two Pokemon at a time, you basically control up to four, I think, in a battle. Yeah, and you can switch out, and basically you can just do a lot of things with the creatures that you collect. I own the game myself on the Switch and I played a decent amount of it. It's pretty fun, but I would say, like all JRPGs out there, the grinding can get a bit boring at times, but it's just normal stuff, I guess. Overall, the gameplay is pretty good. Story-wise, it's decent, nothing too crazy. And if you like just creature collecting games in general, it definitely is a good time, and yeah, you should definitely check it out. Moving on from that, we have Satisfactory, the 1.0 update, which is currently available on PC. So what is Satisfactory? Well, to put it simply, Satisfactory is a open world building game. So yeah, the entire objective is you basically build factories on an alien planet. And you're basically just building factories to make life easier for yourself, to automate everything, to generate more power, create more resources, farm more resources. It's basically just a building simulator. Yeah, really not much to say about it. If you enjoy crafting games, like say Power, Raft, Minecraft, all of these type of open world simulation games, you will definitely enjoy Satisfactory, because what you can do here, based on the stuff that I've seen, ooh man, there's a lot of stuff that you can actually do. Anyway, moving on from Satisfactory, we're going to talk about Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, available on PS5, Xbox Series S and X, as well as PC. So, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown is, as its name would suggest, a driving simulation game. And well, so far based on the reviews I've seen thus far, it doesn't look too good for the game. The game itself, unfortunately, like a lot of other games out there right now, is online only. So yeah, real bummer. You can't play it anymore once the servers go offline, so that sucks. And based on what other comments I've seen thus far, there's some server issues as well, so even bigger yikes, I guess. Yeah. Gameplay wise, it does seem a bit boring. Why do I say that? Because unlike a lot of racing games out there, well, you have the occasional NPC cars around there just driving, and perhaps, having being some sort of roadblock for you, whereby you have to drive around them, stuff like that. Well, Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown has these cars, but they don't feel very lifelike, I guess. The interactions are really, really mediocre, just plain old boring. Like, I'm not asking for really, really advanced NPC interactions, but at the very least, if let's say you cut a car or you just, drive in the wrong direction in the lane, maybe like the NPC can honk you or something like that, like in GTA, but no, the NPCs just don't really do anything. They just continue driving, and then if you hit them, they're like, yeah, so be it. So yeah, kind of a big oops and a big missed opportunity there, because the game itself is supposed to be open world, right? So if you have an open world game, you're supposed to have NPC interactions, and if you're a racing game, the NPC interactions come in the form of other cars on the road. But if you can't really make the interaction feel real, then it kind of defeats the whole open world purpose, because then it's just you driving in an empty map, which is kind of boring, I guess. So yeah, hopefully in the near future, when things get better, they manage to patch some of the stuff, make the NPC interactions better and stuff like that. But right now, at this point of time, I would say you are probably better off buying the crew, which is in discount, than getting the game itself. But hey, if you are a fan of the test drive series, then sure, by all means check out the game, but I would say maybe hold off a little bit before checking out the game. Anyways, that's basically it for all the releases this week. Next, let's move on to our last and final section, free things. So this week, Epic Games Store is giving out Rugrats Adventure in Gameland, as well as Super Crazy Rhythm Castle. So be sure to get these games before they are no longer available. And that basically marks the end of our episode for this week. Once again, I was your host Ming. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you guys next week on another episode of Game Things.